I was asked a little bit the other day about when ravens become mature. Well, we know they get the urges by the time they're 2, but in the literature it says that they become fertile at age 3. And that crows, who are cousins, are fertile at age 2. And that may be because ravens will live 60 years. We've known of crows living 40 years in captivity. In the wild, it's not quite that good a record. All the birds have a hard time. All the animals have a hard time living with humans. So the feeling I got, and some of you may work with parrots too, and probably have more experience there, but from what I learned working with Mokie is that they learn during that first year to mimic. And after that, they use the vocabulary, but they don't seem to learn more vocabulary. When we go to a program and another volunteer stays with him while I go off to do something, he becomes very vocal. Hi Mokie, what's up? Pretty bird, what's up, what's up? Constant until I come back. And I'm sure that that's actually a nervous behavior. Everybody loves it because the bird's talking, but I believe it's actually a slightly nervous behavior on his part.
Does he speak on command? Obviously not.
We've been trying to do that, and he's fairly good in his cage at home. If I say, and we've used sign language as well, what's up? And he will sometimes do that for me, but not consistently enough, and definitely not out in public does he do it. It's like a 4-year-old who knows a song about the alphabet, and you say, sing the song for Grandma. No, I'm not going to sing right now, and that's basically what he does. He doesn't sing right now. For my background, I actually went to college and became a registered nurse. I worked in pediatrics, so working with Mokie is a little bit of an extension of that. And I think I found quite a few of our Project Wildlife volunteers have been retired nurses. Carolyn, I don't know what your background was, but...
No, I just did my Bachelor's of Science in Humanities.
Very good. Okay. But we find quite a few of us that are caregiving professions end up being caregivers for Project Wildlife.
What's the difference between a crow and a raven?
They're cousins. The corvid family is quite large. I have a chart with me that shows where you have rooks and you have jackdaws and you've got other members of the family. It's kind of, bless you, it's kind of basically just like cousins in human genealogy.
So ravens fly in flocks at night to roost, just like crows do?
Yes, they do tend to go in flocks at night. During the daytime, though, ravens are more solitary. You'll have mom and dad, and they mate for life usually, and maybe the juvenile for a year or so. Whereas crows tend to be in flocks all day, and crows tend to be very noisy, cawing all the time. Ravens tend to be selective in their vocabulary. They'll use their voices when they need to.
So are there parts of the country where there's ravens and crows, or it's very divided?
We have both here. Primarily we have crows. We do have a good raven population too. When they're flying, it's very easy to identify whether it's a crow or a raven. And I strongly recommend that you keep your mouth shut while you're looking up in the sky. But we'll give you a little spelling test. How many letters in the word crow? How many in the word raven? Which number is bigger? 5. Therefore, ravens are bigger than crows. Okay, now your spelling test. The word crow is spelled C-R-O-W. crow, C, is kind of the shape of the raven, the crow's tail. It's, what's the rest of the word? If you take the C off, you have row. Their tail feathers are in a row or fan-shaped when you see them in flight. What's the middle letter of the word raven? V. And raven's tail feathers are V or wedge-shaped. So, a couple of things easily identified in flight. When you see them out in the fields, it's almost impossible for me to tell whether it's a crow or a raven. It's a big black bird. Their beaks, the raven's beak is much bigger and heavier. The crow's beak is almost more like a songbird, a large songbird's beak. Baby crows and ravens both have pale blue eyes, and like the pale blue of the gentleman in the front row here. The eyes are that pale blue, and I don't see anybody with the really pale pink, but the mouths are pale pink, and they stay pink until they mature. So it was, his mouth didn't really turn dark until he was about 14 months old, as I recall. I think it's because Mama Bird is looking into this nest full of black birds and sees something pink. She must see the shading at least, and she can then put it into the mouth that's open. What does he eat? Anything. He's an omnivore. Primarily, his diet in captivity is a mixture of dry cat food, canned dog food, human vegetables and fruits, leftovers from my granddaughter's plates. We give him a chicken bone to work on a little bit once in a while. He likes scrambled eggs or hard-boiled egg yolks. He doesn't like hard-boiled egg whites. He'll play with them. Particularly at Easter when we have a lot of these weird colored eggs around the house, he'll break them open, but he does not particularly like the egg white. Now, Carol also mentioned that I take care of a couple of other birds. Currently, I have a barn owl, a great horned owl, a red-tailed hawk, and a kestrel. So at the moment, I have 5 birds. The kestrel, if I can change subjects again for a moment, has been with Project Wildlife 10 years. She has been with me 10 months. And this year, she began to act like she was mating out there in her cage and all this vocalization. And 2 days ago, I found a 12-gram egg in her enclosure. You can see it's about 1.25 inches long and about 1 inch thick. And she's the only one that was in there, so it had to come from her. That probably explains why her weight has gone up. She normally weighs 120 grams. Her diet has not increased. I have, in fact, started giving her a little less because I was worried that she was gaining weight and maybe I was feeding her too much. And now that she's laid the egg, I've really looked at her a little more carefully, and I think she's going to lay another egg, and yes, her weight has gone up again. So where she should be 120 to 30 grams, she's 160 grams. So we've asking our birds to help with their enrichment and to keep them healthy, to work for their food a little bit. So she is asked to sit on a perch and fly to me for a piece of, like a 1-gram piece of food, of mouse, and then fly back. And she does the first jump and then she kind of says, no, I don't think I feel like jumping. And I can see why, now that she laid that big egg.
Tell me again, what kind of bird laid the egg?
That, the American kestrel used to be called the sparrowhawk. It's the smallest of the falcons. black lines under her eyes like the sports guys do to help with their daytime hunting.